Next is the flywheel blaster setup, which is very, very similar. You typically want enough darts and enough mags to last you the game, and you're going to be doing at least semi-auto, maybe full auto, so you want to make sure you have enough darts. My flywheel blaster of choice is the FDL. Set that stock there. This is a nice, comfy airsoft buttstock. It's got rubberized grip, super comfy. The FDL is my overall favorite flywheel blaster. It's got the power, it's got the rate of fire, and the adjustable rate of fire and power as well. So that's a no-brainer for me. Now, I like to sling it from my shoulder strap up here. That's why I like to do smaller blasters. So it sits right here, just like Caliburn did, and I can just pull it right up. Now, I can't really show that because I lost my sling. So what you would normally do is I would just sling my sling onto this D-hook right there, and then sling my flywheel blaster, my smaller blaster, kind of around like that, something like that. So my hands are free. If they want to fire, I just point straight up. Boom, 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 boom. Drop it. And because it's so small, I found I actually sling it over my shoulder. Now my FDL's on my back. And like I don't have to worry about it, and I can like talk to people, and in between rounds, it's like I don't even have a blaster. And the game host yells, "Are you ready?" I say, "Yep," and I kind of just flip my back. FDL comes out, I'm ready to go. And then if I'm playing, I can just flip it up and down. So I took a sling and I folded it over like 8 times, so it's about 2 inches long, and it just connects from the D-hook to my keyring here. And so that is my favorite setup for the FDL. So for the FDL setup, it's pretty much the same thing as my Caliburn setup, but it's a high capacity Caliburn setup. So normally, in a game with a Springer, I would only be running maybe 6 mags. So I've got my 4 on my back, those are like my reserves, and then I would take 2 in here as my primary reload, and then this is my secondary reload, and that's like all I need for a Caliburn normal setup. Maybe if it's a longer game, maybe it's an objective game, capture the flag, which either takes longer than you think or much shorter than you think, then I would double up and have 4. Now that's with a spring-powered pump action blaster. Now if I have an FDL where it's like, might as well go full auto on Blake or another buddy and just full auto them, waste the whole mag on one tag, then you're gonna want 1 mag per tag. So I would probably run this, honestly, but I'd run this per game, per short game. So you've got 10 mags plus 1 in the blaster. And the main setup difference here is going to be how I mount my sling, but find out what works for you, because this actually on me sits right here, which is like very convenient and comfy for me. The other difference is for most flywheelers, you're going to want Adventure Force darts or your Pro darts. We find that both of them work pretty well. New darts, overall, I think these ones work better in the FDL, but again, this Pro darts typically work better in flywheelers across the board. FDL is high crush though, so you can get away with bigger darts. But that's that. So flywheel setup, I mean, we didn't even talk about stocks or anything like that, but you want to have a blaster like the FDL has this point here, sling point. So if I didn't have a stock, I think the original FDL does not have a stock, and I designed this buffer tube for my stock here, but before this was using a Nerf Raider stock, and I didn't find it very durable, especially since on the Raider stock, if you pull it out, it gets longer and the latch mechanism didn't lock very tight. So what you can still do is you can just loop it through one of those holes there in the FDL. So a good blaster will have those sling loops. And you can see, you need to adjust the stock. It's not too bad, or the sling. So you can see you'd have to adjust the sling. It's not too bad, but you have to really pull it to get to your shoulder. That's not too bad, but see the natural sitting position of this setup is the center of mass is going to be different, so your blaster is going to hang more, which means you're going to have to pull it higher. Oh, so it's on the face. So it's not ideal to have to do that. But if this is the only thing you had, that would work. But again, you could easily, that's why I like to strap my blasters on the top, so they sit in this orientation better, so I can more quickly pull it to my shoulder. So if your blaster doesn't have any loops on the top and you don't want to use up your Picatinny, get in your way, then you could look at your stocks. You could also try to add, like I said before, you could add something to your Picatinny so you can loop it and not get in the way. Or I've done it before, is you could have some scope, an actual scope that works if you're using a high-powered Springer usually. Then you could have your sling mount right in front of it or right behind it, so it pulls off to the side. It doesn't get in your way of looking through that scope. but I usually just go down the irons or go down the Picatinny rails for aiming. Yeah, that's about it. And then again, if you want spare batteries, you can throw those in your pockets, or you had some extra empty mags or something, you can throw those in your dump pouch. And at the end of the day, you've got a dump pouch for dart sweeping. So what I would highly recommend is have at least 1 or 2 pouches in your regular loadout. If I had 2 of these, I'd probably have 1 on either of my butts. So you can dart sweep for days and not worry about it. It just goes quicker. Also, nobody else has dart or dump pouches, so you can loan one to them. All right, I'm gonna try this, but I have a torn ACL. So if you try to crouch or kneel on the ground, and I'm behind a barrier, and I want to reload, right there. Or if I'm crouching like really low and I need to reload, it can be really hard to reach this mag sometimes. That's why I want on the back, but you can alternatively go for your leg. Your leg is a lot more mobile. So if I were to crouch on the other side, then my mags are right here, and I can just pull them out like this. But if I'm crouched in, I can't really get to these ones on this side very well. That's why I have mine on my back, but people who use drop legs like them because your legs are typically more open and accessible.